of addressed here a little bit is, how do we shorthand the little what do you call them, frills, the fringes or whatever, which are very characteristic of the tissue, thing. It's like, because it's like, obviously you can't draw all the little tissues. So we were trying to figure out like how to shorthand that, and you kind of resolved it a bit, kind of like what we were thinking is just trying to do like an occasional suggestion here and there of like 2 or 3 little fringes, but even more recently than that, what we were thinking was to kind of not even do that, but rather do color seps that have a zigzag. So to kind of catch up on the project, one thing we talked about in terms of design is that, we're trying to figure out like how close these characters should resemble their real life counterparts. You know what I mean? That exist in real life. So, for example, we have like the traditional donkey piñata. And so the question is, how much do we make it look like the donkey piñata that exists in real life versus taking some liberty in the cartoon world to make it more pliable and more graphic and more suggestive of it than a true depiction of it. And I know Leo just uploaded something under character design, which you're kind of, if I'm correct, Leo, you're kind of suggesting that he almost looked like kind of like Batman or Wolverine or something.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking that the more contrast when he turns into the piñata at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting thought. I mean, but I think what I would still like to see though is that, I mean, my feeling is that when we start seeing the transformation that happens in the air, I think what I really want to go for is starting to see at that point the zigzags on the character turn as the light envelops him, turn into frilly things. So we'll have a few shots where all of a sudden he'll blossom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like flower in a way, Yeah,
I think you did a pencil test like that. Didn't you do a pencil test of that?
I might have done like a storyboard or something like that.
Yeah.
But and maybe the rays of light would shine through each layer of tissue that blossoms. You know what I mean? So I think that, because that will later suggest transformation into the real tissue banding, but I'd still like to kind of keep it donkey animal like, as opposed to like a man in a bat suit or something like that, That's my thinking. So it can still be an animal, but just like cartoon animal that's just more pliable,
right,
than the stiff paper mache piñata,
Okay.
I had a question actually while I was making these. I was kind of bouncing between like how anthropomorphic the piñatas are. So did you guys have like a solution as far as the hands? Because that's where I was struggling on what the solution was.
Yeah, see, we also kind of were explaining that too. Like you have indication for fingers and a thumb. We tried that too. Another option we were trying to do is probably more like nubs, just like a nub. But then if they had to hold something or make a fist, they would kind of do it like what you've done, like with the cactus, where it's kind of more like a mitten, where you have just like one mitten and then a thumb, an indication for thumb that could, wrap around and become like a mitten. That could probably work too. And then, we were kind of thinking, Leo was kind of bringing in like Ren and Stimpy as an example of like the level of exaggeration, and something that isn't, I think, out of the ballpark is, considering that this is going to be a cartoon, is that maybe they can, for a special pose develop a full fist if they're going to, for effect. So if they are going to punch another character and you really need that punch to read, if you need to like form that character's hand in the form of a traditional fist, then I think that would be permissible because we're using cartoon license, you know. And even if the proportions change on the character from time to time to fit the purpose of the gag, you know what I mean, to elevate to that level of caricature, you know. So yeah, so what are we looking up now?
I forgot to turn off my.
Oh, okay.
I was actually looking. I was actually searching up on. I was searching up on the some of the Mexican animals that.
Yeah, so let me share my screen on mine because I started doing a little drover over Edward's drawings of the jaguar. Let me.
Yeah. It was that jaguar was one of the animals that was most found in Mexico.
Yeah, which is a really neat idea. So let me share that. And so. Okay, so here we go. So I just wanted to go over this because this is just like, it's just kind of taking the idea that you already have and just trying to apply what I know about design and drawing to it to kind of help you. So, and as you can see, I didn't do like a full finished drawing. I'm just kind of keeping this rough for now. But what I'm doing here, like on this one, let me show what it looked like before. Okay. So this is what we had before, and the one things that I was really kind of the first things that stuck out to me a little bit was I think this area right here that it doesn't oops. You know, have silhouette value, you know what I mean, that it kind of runs into this shape, you know. So I was thinking to kind of give it, you know, that kind of negative space in there, and also even think about, like, keep in mind of what, you know, are these negative spaces that we're creating. And so what you could do is kind of take these up here and kind of even push the pose. And then I was kind of even debating, you know, the degree of taper, you know, at the wrist for, you know, shape's sake, you know, how much, you know, possible fun you could have with that. The other thing I was thinking too is that, you know, these legs are pretty bulky on the bottom, which could in a way take a little bit away of the power of the upper body. So the one thing that I did or suggested was that, you know, maybe you make them smaller to kind of change up the proportions a little bit, you know, to kind of create something a little bit more like that, you know, and you can give that a try and see, you know, what that does for you, if anything. The other one, this one here, with the guy punching, you know, it's nice. I mean, this does have a really nice, like, gestural quality to it. I think the one thing that I was kind of feeling is that this almost feels too twisted around, comparing that this foot is like turning, you know, back like that. So I think what I was suggesting is to kind of, you know, take this and you know, kind of turn it more to camera, you know what I mean? But still have the flow, you know, still have it lead into this like that. The other thing I was thinking of too is what might be nice is that if we don't lose his expression at all, you know, and we still get You know what I mean? That, a little bit of his eye, there in this, and then this way it could be an area of concentrated detail, like right in here. But also kind of like giving, some muscular shape, you know, trying this, straight against curve and trying to work out this, convex, concave kind of thing. The other thing I was trying to suggest is how to kind of really sell this arm that is really kind of turning away. You know what I mean? That you could still get the twist in the upper torso, but it doesn't feel so twisted around. You know what I mean? To get that. So I was just trying to rework out this a little bit. This thing, same thing here too. I was just exploring a little bit more shape. What do we have? We have this. The first thing that stuck out to me was, what's going on here? You know what I mean? With this leg. And the fact that this one doesn't feel as grounded on the floor as I think it should be, considering the power that that the character has. So I really wanted to make sure that this felt planted, and really kind of work these shapes into it, that kind of thing. And then as far as this leg goes, what to do with that. So what I felt to do is describe it a little bit more so that it's more foreshortened, like this, so that's it's more descriptive, you see. And then everything feels really planted. And then you could probably do your detail on top of all this, But yeah, so that's my 2 cents on that.
When I created the Jaguar character, I looked to Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda as inspiration.
I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Let me see this. So let me go over Leo's thing here that he did last week. I don't think we actually got around.
James, before you do, can I say something? There was about I think a month back where you particularly liked a character design, and we've all been trying to capture that thing that you liked. So I went back and I reviewed your notes and reviewed your drawings, and this is trying to, so like whatever you do, I'm gonna build on that using your guidelines right now that you do on this one. Because are we getting in the general direction of some kind of appeal that you like with this, or no, not yet?
I think so. I think what it really is about is just executing solid drawing. Really, that it's more about that. I mean, like obviously, all of these drawings have some attitude, but what I really want to see is something that conveys some solid drawing and character design principles. You know what I mean? That feel professional grade. And so that's really all I'm kind of doing here, is really just kind of going over this stuff to make what probably amounts to just be like draw over corrections, to kind of show you what I think about. So I mean, so you could see, as it could follow along, you could see what I'm kind of doing is I'm really trying to work some shape here. So instead of just doing rat, you know what I mean? Like just making a shape like that, I am kind of trying to give it some, let's see, like weighted curve on it, like some weight on the curves. So this is a little bit more straight, and this is, complemented by a curve. And then this is the reverse curve to this, and this is what we call like, and I've gone this over with you, like the concave versus convex thing. And then again, this is again, convex, although it could be more of an implied straight. Okay. That kind of makes that go. So that's a start. Okay. Then the other thing is, let me go into this. The other thing that got me on this drawing is the resolution of, this hand on the hip isn't quite there. It's, it's this kind of thing, which I don't know what that is. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then this coming around like this, it feels almost a little detached. So it's kind of like, there's a way to do it so that it feels more connected. And if you wanted to do something like this, I think that could work. You know what I mean? To a degree. I mean, it's part of that bold statement. You're kind of doing like that, or unless you wanted to do, try something like this, like the hand on the hip. I don't know. I mean, that's, I'd probably go for something maybe more like this. This seems more like an easier statement to make, maybe even, even a little bit higher. So you kind of really get, that hip kind of thing. Now this, the first thing that I thought of is this area right here, which is, you have a mouth and then you go into the eye. You know what I mean? And I would say the problem is that there's nothing reacting to it. So it has a tendency, in my opinion, to go a little bit flat. So this is where I kind of think about like, okay, well, if this is going to smile, it's going to push up the flesh. You know what I mean? And that's what's going to merit something like that. Now the thing is, how do you want to do it? How do you want to design it? You know what I mean? I mean, you want to design it like this, or you just, this kind of thing. Do you want to use like, what kind of eye shape, are we doing that? This kind of a thing. That's the thing to, I think kind of figure out so that it just doesn't go kind of flat. The other thing, looking at this is, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to do what might be looked at from the 3/4 is our eyes that look like this. You know what I mean? Right. But you want to do it more from a profile. So yeah, that's a little bit tricky. So let's see if we can do that. What I would probably do is do something like this, which still can indicate a profile, but also in some ways indicates the other side. You know what I mean? So it still has a profile quality, but maybe it doesn't go so, you know what I mean, so flat.
Yeah.
It's something like that. And then these guys, what I would do is same thing as the legs. Like I'd maybe give one a straight, one a thing, and then maybe something like that. You could do the other thing too, even with the snout, where you could even just, a little something, I don't know. And
Yeah,
then
that looks good.
and then I would either consider overlapping it a little bit and then indicating like a fold line, and depending on where you want your fold line to be, if it's a thick neck, maybe down there, or maybe if it's, maybe it could be up here a little bit, depending. But that's what I would explore more.
Mhm. Yeah, I really like that I like that character design right there. I like the way it looks like that. It looks like something that would be really fun to animate.
I could see that character is, in the words of the genie, way macho.
All right. So when I see the drawings, so when you upload drawings and I take a look at them, this is what I'm seeing or hope to see. You know what I mean? Like this is what, like I see what you did, but then I see what it could be, and it's probably a little bit more like this. So this is where I kind of say back to the drawing board kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I try to explain it as I go, so that it's not just me just going over it like, oh, looky what James can do. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm hoping you're getting something out of this each time I go over it. Okay. What else is there to look at?
Let's see.
Well, I know Melissa did a drawing. It's just a warm up drawing, right? Is this not right? It's like,
Yeah, it's just a warm up illustration.
Yeah.
I just threw it in character design.
okay, all right, okay. So I won't.
I mean, unless you want to look at it, it's totally up to you.
There's also still some more character sketches that Sifa did.
The what?
There are still some more. There's still two more concepts that Sifa did.
Oh, where are they?
I haven't shown you yet.
Right underneath Edward's Jaguar drawing. That you click
Okay.
that link.
Is it? Oh, it's in the drive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let me see if. Oh, okay. Let's see. Did I download this one?
While you're pulling that up, if you don't mind me asking, I heard you mention something about transformation.
Yeah.
With the I'd love to hear more about what's the concept with them transforming.
Oh, so the idea is that it's kind of like, after they win the battle, they're hoisted up into the air by a magic lasso, like a magic string, like when they pull a piñata, that kind of stuff. And then we're kind of doing a satire on the Beauty and the Beast, when the Beast turns into the prince at the end of the movie, how the wind is blowing and and it's very
Nice.
thick, and it's like and like that. Yeah. So it's really overplayed, but it's for satire purpose.
Is it like they transform into like a boss level transformation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to convert into a live action ending where after the light envelops the screen, we focus again, and now we're in the real world, and he's now a real piñata, like Pinocchio, like I'm a real boy, thinking that he's reached Valhalla, that kind of stuff. only to get the shit beat out of him by a bunch of kids. You know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of the ending, you know.
So basically, the story theme for Honor, Sifa, is the only winners are the audience.
Oh. It's like Squid Game. I just finished it.
It's like Squid Game. Yeah, I guess so. Piñata Squid Game, right?
Oh, that's terrible. I love it. So how are the in what way the is it because they're getting the show? They're getting the kind of the spectacle of it?
Yeah, it's I guess the it's just like a big joke. It's a setup for a big joke at the end. You know, all these guys are doing this for honor. That's the working title of the film, For Honor. And they're all you know, they see it as something sacred, and only the chosen few get to ascend to the sky gods. And then at the end, you know, Miho, I guess the main character, this character here, he's not the most likable guy. He's kind of, you know, kind of like this crazy, obnoxious kind of guy. So when you see him get beat up at the end, yeah, you don't feel too bad for. I mean, a little. It's a dark ending either way, but it's kind of like that Warner Brothers, you know, ain't I a stinker kind of, you know, like the stinker gets it at the end, kind of.
I love it. What is this? So I don't know if you could see from this, because I didn't have much scope on the project. I just kind of jumped into it. I wasn't sure if it was leaning more toward kind of a luchador theme, or more towards like a Spartan gladiator. So like I tried to mix a couple, but I kept bouncing between them. But I'd be curious what your guys' perspective on it. Is it leaning more that direction? Is it something a blend of two different concepts?
Yeah,
Between like Spartan.
Yeah, I think it kind of is a blend. We've kind of done a lot of exploration on everything, where it was like, yeah, we were kind of going one way, and then kind of came back another way, and then kind of came in the middle. And yeah, kind of what you have like suggested here, which I kind of want to point out too. Some concepts is yeah, we were thinking that the you know, like the luchador mask, you know, like that there would be like, you know, if it was a donkey, you know, pinata, that there would be, you know, this kind of a thing, you know, where what it would have, like the luchador mask would have like the little, you know, thing like that, and it would still support, you know, this color banding, you know, that is also on the rest of the pinata too, while still at the same time be prudent in watching how much detail there is. You see what I mean? At the same time. So the one thing that I kind of like about this is, okay, for one, you know, I kind of like, you know, this kind of mask kind of shape. These, I don't know if I can't see the pupils or if it's just, you know.
I was thinking more like Batman the animated series, like you see the white, but you never see
Yeah, like that's pretty cool. I kind of like that, and I kind of like, if it's reading it wrong, is this unibrow?
Yeah,
you know, which is like the kind of like a, you know, Frida Kahlo kind of thing. You know? I mean, yeah, like, it'd be funny if we did give them a unibrow, which I don't know. I'm kind of liking this introduction of like maybe a little bit more nubs as opposed to sharp things. I mean, that's something to point out. Same thing down here, like instead of the pointed legs, you know, we have a little bit of nub, but we also have a little indication of toe. You know what I mean? So that's something to think about. What I would probably do, thinking about character design on this right now, is like right now everything seems to be kind of pretty evenly spaced. I would probably explore more of something where maybe
some chicken legs.
Well, to still keep the same idea, but change up the proportions. So now they're broken up. You see what I mean? And you could almost keep the head like the same size, the same, but maybe just, maybe bulk this up, you see?
Mm-hmm.
So, so then you're creating this shape like that. You see what I mean?
Yeah, more of a bell shape.
Yeah, instead of, you see how it's proportioned relatively evenly, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just to try and give it some more interest there. Yeah, let's take a look at what else you got. Yeah, well, kind of like this guy, you know what I mean? Like this over here, like this is what you have, is you have like this, big barrel and, this kind of thing, so maybe you can even play with this, like this kind of idea, maybe like little tiny hands coming off of a big barrel chest, like that. That's the kind of thing. So really kind of playing up this disproportioned thing. And now, like something like this, like if let's take this a little further, where if he was flexing his chest, would that be the time to like really,
Ooh,
as a gag, like really get
the little tassels ruffled.
Yeah, like really get those like sticking up,
Would the tassel idea kind of still flow with, like, I know you're trying to go for more simplified, a frame by frame, because you mentioned it earlier or in the meeting. Would that still go with it, or is that kind of
I think it
moving?
might work. I mean, this is kind of a funny gag. I think and maybe it's something we kind of think about. I don't see. This is where I kind of thinking, like, as we do more of these funny drawings, maybe it has the possibility of inspiring a story concept. You see what I mean? So, if we're introducing these new piñatas, and he's like, coming in at 10 bags of candy is Toro, and he decides to flex. He's like, flex. That kind of a thing. You know what I mean? That could be like, that could almost be like a little, little gag in and of itself, or something like that. Or, I don't know, or maybe if maybe he does that thing where he like, he flexes his arm,
And he puffs up.
yeah, maybe, flexes that, flutter, 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 that kind of stuff. You see what I mean?
Fine, that's an attack of its own.
Yeah, like as he flexes, like flutter, 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 maybe he shakes all over, and that kind of thing. Maybe as he is shaking or stuff like that, maybe he kind of like spits out candy or something like that, that kind of stuff. Or he kind of like knocks his head and out comes a little piece of candy or something, like, oh, now I'm ready, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I see at this point, I don't know, because this whole short is a one-note gag, which is fighting piñatas. So you think about how fragile piñatas are. The more they fight, the more they break, the more they die. You see what I mean? That kind of a thing. But we're not using blood. We're using candy to replace blood, or, that kind of a thing, So really just kind of playing up that idea all the time, but also trying to give these characters kind of a fun thing. Like, I'd almost say to like make them to such a degree that you would want to buy these plushies if they were in the store. You know what I mean?
Mhm. This one actually brings up another question. How do you guys feel about weapons? Is that are weapons part of the?
Yeah, so like particularly the weapons is the bat, like
Yeah.
what you have here is that
Mhm.
frilly bat that usually they kind of do, like when they hit piñatas they have like what you have here, it's that bat with the little frillies on it. So I was thinking that maybe the frills can be more on the edges to kind of simulate the that the nail bat, that kind of a thing. But this is all tissue, like wrapped tissue.
The first time, I mean, I was imagining it's an Aztec. Like, oh no, it's I think it's a Maori weapon where it's the shark teeth.
Yeah, the shark teeth. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But like, look at this design. Like, I want to point this out, for the group too. Like, what I'm really liking about it is this thing. See how it kind of carries through, and it becomes a design like a little abstract like that. I mean, that's what kind of makes it fun. And then you have this subdivision of this over here. You see what I mean? So more along the lines, I think the more along the lines we do something like this, I think the more successful we'll be, So yeah, I'm thinking more stuff like that. Even this is fun. What I would probably do though is, you could even take this a step further and really enhance the kind of like the matador thing by even taking the shapes like the cincher, up here, and then maybe this is little tissue frill, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And even this you can
bring it out more.
shorthand like that, this is kind of a nice shape, you know what I mean? But yeah, like I would kind of go in this realm like that, where again you're giving these proportions here, and then you could kind of figure out maybe you could do like the little frill on the end as the cuff, you know what I mean, to the shirt. That might work, figure that out.
Yeah, there's a more fleshed out version of this where I was trying to imagine that instead of like giving them actual clothes, that they're the different color variations kind of create the idea of clothes. So like, I had the idea of like their boots being a color pattern, and it makes in the style of a traditional lucha boots or even Spartan boots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good thinking. Yeah, that's what we were doing too, is like for example, let's say if he did have a leg, right? What we were doing was doing this little zigzag thing that would naturally become like the separation for the boot. Same thing here, like we'd use a little zigzag to maybe do the trunks, that kind of stuff, and that would be a color set, and this would be a different color, and that would be a different color, that kind of thing. And this is where we're saying like we're doing the zigzag instead of the instead of doing something like this. I think for a while we were even doing something like, and what you were doing, like doing something like that, which is kind of a neat way to do it, but we thought even doing that after a while could be a little bit hard to track, depending on the style of movement, especially if it's really slow, like, okay, we got 3 here, 2 there, that kind of thing, as opposed to one zigzag. And even when we do the zigzag, we have to watch out that we don't do too many zigzags. You see what I mean?
Gotcha.
So we were thinking like a stronger statement was, you don't need 2 zigzags. You could probably get enough with 1 and be okay. And it still says the same idea. And again, I'm kind of saying this, that this is kind of more like, symbolic of like their worldview, like we were saying, is like, how they see themselves. Like, it's almost like, it's like this world doesn't actually exist. It exists in their mind. You see what I mean? So they are always piñatas that, I guess, what is the proper term? Dissociate? Or is that dissociate or disassociate? Disassociate, where you kind of like, where your mind goes somewhere else and you're like, okay, yeah. So that's what these piñatas are actually doing, is they're disassociating, while they're hanging up there for months. You see what I mean? Imagining, how do they entertain themselves? So they're in their mind, they create this world is all in Miho's mind. You see what I mean? It's almost like it doesn't actually exist. You see? So how Miho would conceive of himself, like how we think of how we think of ourselves until we see each other and until we see ourselves in the mirror.
It's kind of like when you're hearing your own when you hear your own voice versus when you hear it recorded back to you.
Yes, exactly. When you hear your own voice, it's like, what? You're like, that's what this world is like. So this is why it can almost be like almost just about anything. You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, I'm a striped badass, that kind of thing, So that's what we're kind of working with. Cool. And so for this, I'm just going to point out things also to the group, and these are just character design things. What I would probably do on something like this is try and work on a little bit of posture and balance. It's a cute idea, and I'd probably even let that cape be. I would probably do something like that, shape-wise. You see?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean?
Concave, you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. So that there's a little bit more of a, a countered balance on this thing. What else we got? Was there another drawing we did? Let's see, who did that one? Oh yeah, and then this one. Yeah, so something that I kind of like a little bit is, I'm kind of liking this shape. This is kind of fun with little nubby things, and kind of what we do here. This is kind of a fun shape. That's what I see. So I'm using a very simplified graphic to kind of do that. I kind of like, see, again, you kind of have your straight and curves, you see a little bit there. What I would have probably done is something more like this, but it's like, just to kind of push it a little bit more. But I like this idea, the superhero cape, the luchador suit, because it like luchadors like superheroes in a way. It's kind of become like superheroes at the same time. You can really have fun with that, and these are really fun. I mean, these are actually really fun ideas that I think you could explore a little bit more. I kind of like this introduction of these kind of bull horns. There is a little bull piñata, that. So I would just, what I would be doing in these things is pushing it a little bit more. And what you could do is use these frilly things to help instead of just being random on the character,
Mm-hmm.
if you figure out the volume, you would use these things to help.
Gotcha.
You see what I mean? To do that, because then this way, when you erase that uh, line, these things help carry your idea through. You see what I mean? Same
Mm-hmm.
here. Like if you were to do this, you would take these things and have them contour the same way.
No, that's great feedback.
You see,
Yeah.
so that then again, when you erase your construction line, now you have. You see, now you have the suggestion of it without. Of course, you could have the thing there which helps accentuate it. But you see what I mean? Now you don't. Now you don't need the construction line because you have this that speaks it for you. Yeah. Yeah, this is fun. This is kind of fun. I like. So what I would, yeah, I would really, yeah, like, really explore the shape, like, this is your, shape language there, see? Like this is a fun idea. So I would just, like they had like those little vests or whatever. And, this is fun. This is area of concentration all in here, whatever this would be, You have your, I'm going to scribble your area of concentration, you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, explore that more. And then this is where you can use like that
cross.
Zigzag. Yeah, exactly. And then this here, if it was a little cummerbund or something like that, and then the little, maybe you could do your tissue up here, you know what I mean? Like for the ruffles, that are normally on the, that kind of thing. So again, you have like a lot of concentration up on here, and then this is all shape, on shape, and then here you have mostly throughout the thing you have mostly straights, but now up here you're gonna have this little cotton candy effect like that can be fun. You see what I mean? Just to offset all of this. You know what I mean? All of this stuff. You see? So you got round, 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 chisel, chisel, chisel. See, that's what you got going for you on that one. Yeah, interesting. That's like.
Are you guys keeping it to animal pinatas only?
Yeah, I think so.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Like there's no people. There's no human.
Yeah.
Well, it's like there's like I said, there's a like I have there. It's like there's a sun pinata, the traditional star pinata. There's cactuses.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. Like that's something that we're trying to figure out too, is because some of them are cactuses, like some of them are like a cloud, like a rain cloud, a rainbow with a rain cloud, that kind of thing. I mean, there's different shapes. There's like flamingos. There's even numbers. Like you have number pinatas. You got, other things too. And then there's always to the other, what is it? The little dolls that they do, the little girl doll that has the little dress that you see on those things. I don't know what they are, but it's like you have like the little girl pinata doll, or something like that. And it's like a toy or something that maybe she could show up somewhere. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You have the unicorn,
Yeah.
all these different themes and concepts, uh, and we did. I mean, we also did kind of use AI in asking it to like output a bunch of random like shape pinatas. So we were
Mhm.
thinking like maybe the people in the background in the stands could be more like unidentifiable frilly creatures, but the actual fighters in the ring would probably be more traditional, like cactus, more of the more identifiable uh, ones that they use that you would see hanging up, including the star. But we're saving him for last. You know, the big star one. Um, but this is kind of interesting using like the thing with the cones on the end of it. I mean, that's kind of a neat idea actually.
That's when I was leading full gladiator.
Yeah. So yeah. So what I would do is I mean I could say you could take these same ideas and you're already really good in proportioning a bit. I think even you could even go a little wilder, more exaggerated, like with some of this stuff, just and then we could pull it back later if we need to, you know what I mean? But go
Gotcha.
ahead and make that club big, you know what I mean? Make that, that kind of stuff. Make that thing huge. Uh, yeah, and see what we have fun with. Um, yeah, the cacti pinata. Yeah, trying to figure out what to do with him. I still like the idea of like, the little flower on the head, and I like how you have like the flower on the edges. He has flowers all around. That's kind of a fun idea. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's a fine line with the cactus one before it becomes Digimon.
yeah, exactly. So this is where like we're wondering like for this is like when do we put the uh, little mask on him? You see what I mean? This kind of thing. Do we give him like that kind of a mouth? You know what I mean? Like as a wrestler, and then do we give him a cape too? That kind of thing. I don't know. It's like it's really like at this stage, like what do you want them to be? Like what if he was like really flamboyant or something like that? Like the like the little pig guy here. You know what I mean? Um, you got to think too, like these things are like all like personalities, like exaggerated personalities, just like WrestleMania characters. They're all very conceited. Like WrestleMania wrestlers. Their character, they're all conceited. They all think they're the hot shit. That kind of stuff. So like when posing them out, you know, like again, like kind of like you have it, like really push those poses to be like, you know, I'm I'm the I'm the
You
bomb. You know what I mean? Like I'm the best in the world. That kind of stuff. Really like dial up their personalities. Um,
And you know what they say: twice the pride, double the fall.
There we go.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. And so that's Stario's comeuppance. You see what I mean? So in the end, Stario, the big ass star pinata, he ends up being foiled because of a simple little tear in his bottom section that allows for candy to plop out like he just shat his pants. You know what I mean? And so the embarrassment causes him to exit gracefully off the stage. And since Miho is now the last one in the arena, he wins by default. You see? So Miho
Wins.
yeah, so so Miho is no real hero. He just happened to win because everybody else bowed out or whatever. You see what I mean? So that's kind of just the weird.
So basically, the entire fight, the entire battle in Verona is basically the winner of this tournament is just judged by the last man standing.
Mm.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So there's no skill involved whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just like Squid Game.
So think of it like, well, what is it like? There was that movie, Walter Smitty or whatever. It was an old movie, but they did a remake and
with
even
Danny Kaye. You talking about that one with Danny Kaye?
Yeah, with Danny Kaye. Yeah.
The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Yeah, Walter Mitty. Yeah, thank you. You know, he I guess it was that disassociation or whatever, you know, where it was like he always fancied himself to be more bravado than he had. You know what I mean? Like more of an adventurer, more of a, you know, go-getter than he really was. You see what I mean? And that's kind of like what Miho is. He's a store pinata that fancies himself to be a badass, but you know, he's just a little donkey pinata. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like when a nerd finds a leather jacket, it's like,
yeah, that kind of thing. You see, and that's what all these other pinatas are too. You know what I mean? It's like cactus pinata. If we did the story of the cactus pinata, he would be the cute little cactus pinata. That this is what he would probably look like in real life. He'd probably be like, you know, he'd be this pinata. You know, in real life. You know what I mean? This is what he would look like in real life. But when he thinks of himself as a fighter, he envisions himself to be more like this. You see what I mean? So that's the concept with these characters. Is like,
yeah, that definitely helps the idea of just like kind of when you're playing a fighting video game and you make your own avatar.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be you, but it's like it's me. It's who I think I am.
Yes,
so
exactly.
There's a level of exaggeration that goes to like the capes make sense to me. Like I made the capes more for luchador fun, but they make more sense as like imagine ourselves with a cape.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about it, hey Leo, I mean,
yeah.
As far as the live action production part of it goes, now I'm just floating this idea out there. Instead of going right to the backyard of the kids' party, what if we went to the store? And not only do we see Miho hanging up there, but we also see pinatas of the other fighters hanging up as well. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Miho would be next to a big star pinata and a big cactus pinata and a, you know, that kind of thing, and say, "Daddy, I want that one." And you see hands take it down, cross dissolve, back up to the party, and then pop, you know.
Oh, and then would you say we don't even need to cut to the party then? You would just end it there?
No, I say still go to the party, but we add maybe one scene of them in the pinata shop where we kind of reinforce that idea, like, oh, this was all a fantasy. You know what I mean? Like this was all. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You see Stario, but as a real pinata, and Cacti is, you know, the cactus pinata from before, but he's hanging up there too, looking really cute. Like they all look like really cute. You know, like they look like badasses in the cartoon,
right?
But we see them manifested in real life as these cutie little things.
That's really funny. Yeah,
you see?
Yeah.
You know, that might be kind of cute. You know, to help reinforce that this is their imaginary world.
That is,
and it's
funny.
all it's all in their head. You know.
Yeah, there was an old. Yeah, no, yeah. I do. It's kind of like a trope. I've seen it a
Yeah.
couple of times.
Yeah,
You see these characters, and then you see them in,
yeah, it would be kind of
Cool.
like a throwback to like that trope,
Yeah.
like
It was all just
Daddy, I want that one.
There's an old Twilight Zone. I don't know if you saw it, but where they're all in a bucket. There's
Yes.
a toy soldier, a ballerina, and they're
Yes.
all wondering how they got in the bucket.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
And
Yes, that's
it's a what is it?
it's
Red
called the-
Cross, where people give away toys.
Yeah.
At the end, you find out, and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, the show was called 5 Characters in Search of an Exit, I think, or something.
I
Yeah.
don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that one. They were all trying to get to the top, and there's like a bong,
Yeah.
and it would knock him down. You realize that the bong
And it's
was
so
actually
serious
the,
when you're
the Santa outside with the bell. He was ringing.
right, and you're watching this whole thing, and it's so serious, and they're so stressed,
Yeah.
and the soldier is acting like the soldier. Yeah, that's kind of what you're thinking, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like this is like a Warner Brothers Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Melissa, you got your
Yeah, so I know the last meeting we had, we were gonna take this into a satire realm.
Yeah.
Are we still doing that?
Oh yeah, definitely. So Sifa, the other concept we were kind of playing with is when it comes to these fight scenes, kind of making a satire on animation styles. So when they start fighting, we wanted to use like these anime style staging with the speed lines and the speed background and stuff like that. But we wanted to call attention to it. So, for example, one of the piñatas was going to be like, I'm going full anime on you. Like I'm going to use my anime move, or the announcers who are going to be commentating on this thing would be like, oh, and Cacti puts on full anime on Miho, or Miho does a Tex Avery on Cacti, where he causes the zigzag tongue, or he causes his eyes to bulge out, or that kind of thing. Like we would be like calling out like animation tropes to kind of.
Would the animation change as well?
The what?
Would the animation change at all as well?
Possibly too, because we're thinking because they're going to go anime, you know what I mean? Yeah, maybe for design's sake, maybe they could have those glossy eyes, you know what I mean, with the multi highlights in them, you know what I mean, and the blowing hair or something like that. I mean, that's something probably more on the story end, but yeah, I mean, that's what we're kind of playing with, is that these characters could go Ren and Stimpy like, and anime like, and Warner Brother like, like
The Animaniacs.
Animaniacs, yeah, like that kind of thing, like
Fun.
maybe when a character gets punched, he gets the pie eyes or something like that, you know what I mean? Like he's like thrown back to to rubber hose, like he's and he did the rubber hose on him. He got the rubber hose treatment, and now he's all Cuphead,
Or Coyote in the rover, like when he explodes, like they turn to little smithereens.
Yes, that kind of thing. Yes, exactly.
That would be fun.
So, yeah, like just trying to sight gags, just stuff that would be funny. So basically, like, when we tell people about the concept of this short, we say Fight Club, but they're piñatas. So just that in and of itself already conjures up a funny concept. So all we really have to do is follow through on that and make good on that. When you think about Fight Club or Gladiator meets piñatas, you just need to come up with something, you know what I mean, that fits that visual that you would expect. And I think we're good. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just a matter of just, making sure that it, has appeal, good design, and it lives up to a professional standard, and then we're good. All right. What else have we got going on?
I posted a new sketch of a Quetzal pinata.
Oh wow! Oh, did you just do the treatment again? The AI treatment. Okay, let's
indulge.
look at this. What is and what else did you do? Like, Edward, do you have resources?
I posted a new character sketch based on the Quetzal. It's a bird. A bird. It's a Mexican bird.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, neat. Let me see. Where is the other one? The inspiration. Okay, let's take some of these. So let's look at it. So okay, all right. So here you have an example of Cactus Man with the luchador mask. So what I would say, and it's funny. I hate this. Like these drawings actually look pretty good. They're not supposed to look good. Damn it! How am I going to compete?
They always look creepy to me. I don't know why you guys like them.
It's just your prejudice.
Oh,
Right.
100%.
Well, here's okay. So I mean, okay. So my thing is with this too. What I do see in this is that this is neat looking, but it's not as fantastical.
Yeah.
As I would like to dream up. You know what I mean? But I take a look at like takeaways. My takeaways on it are little things like, oh, look at, they're creating a boot shape that looks like that, Okay, that's something to think about, I suppose. The other thing I'm getting at is the little cactus that kind of come out like that, or maybe in threes. That's interesting, because before I was just going to do this, you know what I mean? But what this tells me is maybe we could do something that does more like that. The other thing this kind of tells me is, but look at this too. I mean, they did the same thing where it's like upper body, little legs, stubby arms and a big cape. And, maybe it's this. I don't know. This is interesting, is like little ears. Okay. So what I would do with this is maybe we could entertain that, but let's go ahead and give it some shape. You see what I mean? Maybe that would be fun, you see? And I would just, caricature this a little bit, you see? And then what I would probably do with this stuff is, easily change the proportions. You see what I mean? To give it a little bit more of a fantastical quality, But this is interesting. This is how I would use it. Is something like this, you see? Yeah. Like, even this, I'm kind of liking, like, this graphic shape here. You know what I mean? On this with these ears. I'm kind of liking that.
Yeah.
But I say, but we could do stuff like this. You see, we could take these ideas, but we could apply things that we know about design to enhance it. You see, maybe what I would do is use these lines to help accentuate, I don't know, like I figured out how to do, like help accentuate, like instead of making him look like he has real pecs, you know what I mean? I would try to find a way to make the natural cactus lines conform to something that do that, you know. I don't know what that would be. I don't know. I like, or maybe we just don't do it. Maybe we just do something like this.
Maybe we can combine that whole look of the way we did it before, where he was in a potted, like a pot. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, no, because then I go back to the whole thing of like, if this little cactus is going to imagine himself as a badass, I don't think he's going to
Be in a pot.
in a pot. You see what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah.
where I could say what we could do is have fun with this, where maybe we could kind of change up where we kind of give him like, like change up the anatomy a bit where, it's broader on the tips. You know what I mean? And you get it? Like this,
Yeah.
Just to make a funnier thing, out of it. Yeah, because right now it's giving us something kind of bland. What I would probably do is caricature it, where I would kind of go like this and do something like that. You see? Just to enhance it, But I like the simplicity of this. This works for me, you know what I mean? Maybe we could do that. Maybe we could do this, And then I would just, give it a shape. Maybe I could give it little things like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, it's a good start. That's the way I look at it and look at with AI, is that, it gives you the idea. Now the challenge is, how to make it more. But again, look at this. It's the same idea, little,
Yeah.
Big bodies. That's what it's learned, is. So I would be, my takeaway would be to do something like, these proportions, do something like this instead. And now we got something kind of fun. Yeah, something like that.
What do you think of the coloring? The color choices.
Yeah, I mean, so what I see is white, green, and pink. And then maybe tan brown.
Yeah.
But well, see, like, because they're doing sandals, you see.
Yeah.
The other thing too, they're suggesting that it's an actual person in a green bear suit. It's sort of like a bear suit, you know what I mean? Those bear suits that have all the spikes all over them, What is he? Oh my gosh!
Oh,
Look at this one. See, these are. It's again the same thing. It's cute.
They're very humanoid. All the character designs they look a lot like people.
Yeah. So what I would do to these things is, again, if I was working with this, I would. Oops. I would see about where was it? I never. I would just.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to, maybe I'd give her like little boots. I would still accentuate this stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, that's what I would do typically with any of this stuff. Is I would just take the idea and
Does it speed up the process for you quicker to just have this AI as a little layout?
maybe. I mean, yeah, like again, I'm just going off of ideas. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm treating this just as if it was any one of you that came in and gave this idea. See, so the notes that I'm making are the same notes that I made on all of your stuff. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's really no different.
Yeah.
I try to explore something like that.
We can
So it's like so it's like hand and feet like kind of a two humanoid. Is it better to like simplifying like, for example, cactus pinata also?
What is that?
Yeah. Oh, I mean like simplifying the hand and then feet. Like cactus pinata, for example, like would it be good to simplifying the hand and then feet like real cactus?
Mhm.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, instead of having like a palm and stuff, to just have it end with a nub. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of my thinking. I'm not. I mean, it gave us an actual hand, which I don't know. I kind of want to. I didn't want it to feel like a person in a cactus suit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I did. Yeah, as opposed to
Like that too.
like a cactus. Like even this is like, what do we do with the hooves? You know what I mean? Like, do we keep
Yeah.
the hoof?
Yeah.
This kind of a thing. And then how much of a little physique do we want to put on this thing?
Yeah, just only show the essential part, like show the thumb, and then
Yeah.
other part is just
So
a
like,
hoop.
so like for example, like what I did here, I gave her like little go-go boots. You know what I mean? Which just like little boots, so it still has like the nub, end to it, but just has a little detail on it that will make it look cute. And then this, I just exaggerated the hair, which I don't know. This is kind of cute. I kind of,
Yeah, it is.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it could be something like that. Like this is what I would do with it. If you see, I would just leave out the stars though, and then I would, or do we do like, this kind of thing? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If that is shape as well.
And if I may say something, I think making those pinatas like the unicorn and the cactus humanoid is because it's so that it would make Miho's transformation into a real pinata feel more plausible.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, like these characters are seeing themselves as more than what they actually are.
Right.
They're
Yeah.
more pliable than their physical capabilities are. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, or maybe, maybe let me explore this other idea, because I'm looking at saying, like, what I kind of like is, these boots on her, like, maybe it's less. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it could be like more like that with,
Mhm.
you know.
Hmm.
So what I'm going for now, in part, is kind of fun shapes, because what makes it really, I think, fun to animate is when you kind of come up with something with funner shapes, because that's where you start. You know what I mean? When you start animating it, it's going to look like this. You see what I mean? So it's these proportions you want to get, you know. And maybe she can have like a little cape. Maybe only the cape that goes to there or something. I don't know. And this could be like her like eyelashes, but it's part of her mask. Like, cute. And then her tail looks like her hair. So it looks like she has long hair, you know what I mean? So she has long tail hair, and then maybe a lot of hair, see? Something like that. And maybe the hair can have that breakup on the end of it that's like a tissue. I don't know. Play
Yeah.
it. Play with it. Play with it. But that's where I go with character design a lot. So I'll take this and I kind of meet like a challenge, like, make it better.
Yeah.
Because it's nice, but it's too much. Like, there's too many lines. It's not, it doesn't, this is too many lines for animation, nobody's
Yeah.
going to do a start. Now, this is something else, because this is where it's like, for CG, yeah, I mean, this is great. If you're going to do this for CG, you could do this all day. Yeah, we're going to have a belt buckle with a star and stuff like that. Another belt buckle. We're going to put another star there, another star there. We're going to have like a little booty thing there. Like, I'm like, no, you're not. Like, yeah, we're doing the CG. Okay, yeah, we are. Okay. But when you start thinking about, drawing it, what's fun to draw, then that's when you start simplifying it. That's why I say, like, I would just do maybe like one X to indicate laces, and that would be it. You see what I mean? But this has like a bunch. I'd be like, nope, nope, nope. Like, no, we're not doing that. No, no, no. That's too much. Let's find a way to shorthand it. There you go. That's passable. You know what I mean? Um, like this, like, it's a neat idea, but I think it's too much. This is where I could say, oh, okay, well, you could do the same thing, just maybe do two, you know, and then this is where, it looks like, like an a girl's eyelash, or you know what I mean.
Hmm.
But it's actually a part of her costume instead. See, so that's cute. All right. There was a flamingo one. I don't know. Oh, look at this guy. And then I think we need to go. I need to work on a cover letter for a resume. You know, I'm applying to be a teacher at Fullerton, and
Oh wow, cool.
they require like 5 letters of like, I don't know, like experience and whatever. And it's like I got to come up with something. But like my CV or whatever, it's like I was like when I finally did my CV and I just took my experience of teaching and mentoring, that was 2 pages. just the stuff I did on the side, like in the
Wow.
evenings when I teach, or you know, whatever at night, like that was 2 pages. That doesn't even include like all the work I did at Disney and Warner's and stuff like that. And oh, and I think I should show you, like I pulled out my yeah, so see this?
Oh my God.
This is all, man, this is all drawovers.
Oh
When
wow.
I used to volunteer, I used to volunteer for this thing called Acme Online, which I would go over student work, but you know, I would do
Wow.
all these, you know, drawovers and notes,
Wow.
explanations of shape and everything, you know, that kind of stuff.
The detail.
Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, see, somebody did a drawing of a bunny, you know, and I would be like, no, you gotta do the straight and the curve and all this stuff like that. Anyways, that's like, that's what all this is. Thankfully, I
Wow.
still have it, and
That's cool.
but yeah, I don't know, like if I get past the first round, I think they want to uh they want me to produce stuff like that. So like, yeah, for example, I think the student work would, you know, I think this is a sample of their student work, and I would kind of go over it a little bit, you know, like what I'm doing for you guys, you know.
Mhm.
I would just kind of, you know, explain certain things, and then I would provide like, you know, my versions of it, you know, like, you know, how would I, you know,
Wow.
make this stuff. Yeah, this is John Henry. Yeah, that's what it was. Somebody did a thing on John Henry. So yeah, I have all this stuff, thankfully, because this was before digital technology, before we could draw on a tablet. Yeah, so I did the same thing too, like with like, you know, how to draw a character head and eyes and stuff like I could make a book. This is like
Yeah. That's
Why
what I
don't
was
you?
thinking.
a 2-volume book. Like, you know, again, like, you know,
Oh, that's cool.
how to draw a little kid, and
Wow.
you know, and
Oh my gosh.
get this stuff like that. So
Is anything stopping you from doing like a guidebook?
Yeah, laziness and money. Like here was like a little fish that decides to blow himself up like a blowfish. You know, like,
So this is all over student work, like the students, that was the assignment, and then you went over the work? Is that what
yeah,
that is? Wow.
yeah. So they had like this concept, and I would, you know, do the drawings over it, you know, and this kind of a thing, you know, like, you know, big blowfish. Anyways, yeah.
They give it back.
So
So is that Fullerton High School or Fullerton College?
college,
Cool. Yeah,
Cal State University, Fullerton.
that's a good gig.
Yeah, we'll see. But my problem is I don't have a degree. See, I only went to 2 years of Cal Arts, so I never finished. So I only have like a high school diploma and some college, I guess if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
You know?
My
That's-
degree is not even worth the paper it's printed on. So don't
Yeah,
look
James,
at it.
I have the same thing. I went to Art Center, but I never finished either. And I taught at a college and at a high school. They're good gigs. If you could, there's ways around it to do it. There's definitely ways around it.
Yeah, I got to figure out. I'm getting my stuff together, and I was going to ask him like it's kind of thing like should I even bother like you know what I mean? Because if that's going to be the linchpin, it's like, well, then why am I even you know bother? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But it sounds like they would be willing to accept it without a degree, because I honestly don't know many reputable animators, for one, that could teach, and out of those few that would probably want to teach because they're probably working, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That have a degree, you know what I mean? Because everybody was the same. It's like, you know, you kind of go to art school, and the people go to the schools looking for talent, and
Yeah.
like you get picked up, you know, partway through, or you get some kind of job offer, and then you just find that, you know, you don't have time for school, and because you're getting work, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, but because that's what happened to me. It was like,
Well, isn't school just for finding a job?
I guess, I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, but
So you beat the system. You got there before you finished.
yeah. But the thing is like I always say, my whole thing is like you never stop learning. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, you know, like you could even spend 4 years in school and not learn everything. Like I am just now figuring out skills that I didn't even know I had. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm teaching my, you know, self how to paint, and, you know, paint portraits and stuff like that, you know, and you know, like, and this is after years of school. But anyways, okay, well, you know, like going back to this stuff, and then we should probably go. Yeah, I mean, these are cool. I mean, honestly, I hate that AI did them, because, you know, this looks like something that somebody who knew what they were doing did.
Probably
You know, it's like I wish it was more laughable, and you know, but it's like, oh shoot, you know, it's like I'd actually do that. Be like, "Grr," whatever. But you know, there's still stuff to contend with it, and I think the real thing about it is finding ways to simplify it,
Yeah.
to make it animation friendly, if you will, you know. And there's still more personality to be explored in some of this. I mean, these are good in general, just for general design and maybe some attitude, but, you know, it's like the more you put your characters into like what I call like a tableau or an action setting, that kind of stuff, then you kind of explore more who they are on the inside, you know what I mean? And so I think with character design at this stage, you kind of want to go for concept and general shape. As it goes into animation, character design will actually kind of work itself out, because as you start animating it on a frame by frame basis, the animator will kind of finalize the design through the process of animating. You know what I mean? They'll figure out how much fringe is too much fringe, and all this stuff like that. So as a job as a character designer, it's not so much as making it perfect for the animator. It's really more about inspiring the animator at this point. You see what I mean? And then the animator will kind of figure out the rest, and that's totally acceptable, and that's actually to be expected. You see, that kind of thing. I kind of come at it from a little bit unique perspective because I am, I guess, primarily an animator. So when I go over a character design, I'm already kind of coming in with that lens, with that prejudice in a way. You know what I mean? I in turn have to, when I start off with the character design, I have to fight the animator instinct in me to abbreviate too soon. You know what I mean? Because then I don't feel that I'm exploring all of the blue sky opportunities. You see what I mean? I kind of come from a different place. So I have to discipline myself to set aside that animator influence and be more of an artiste. You know what I mean? And forego the practicality of it and go more for art, you see, than being prudent in moving it around. You see what I mean? So that's why you get those character designers that do these really crazy things, because they're not thinking as an animator. You see what I mean? They don't have that influencing them. They're just creating art. And then the animator goes along and responds to that art, and then they have to kind of figure out, well, now how do I turn this around? But that's really, to a point, not the character designer's job up front. Maybe on a different production it would be, where they said, okay, now you did a brilliant design, now let's explore the different angles. Then the character designer is kind of put to task. You know what I mean? And that's fair, and some of them do, but for the more primary characters. But like for the secondary characters, usually, because that's a lot of work to try and figure out how will this character turn. You could do a really nice drawing from a 3/4 view, but then what happens when we have to look down on them or look up at them? How does the design hold up from different angles? You see, so that's when both the character designer and animator kind of work together and try to figure that out. But that's usually, that kind of effort is reserved for like a main character like Miho in this case. You know what I mean? But for a minor character that's just going to show up for one scene, the character designer would just do one really nice drawing, and then it's not worth all that effort just to resolve a character that's only going to be in the film for like one shot or two shots. You see, so yeah, like this guy, you know what I mean? Like, he may be in it for one shot. He may be up against Miho for like one scene. You know, we don't need anything more than this, so this might totally suffice, but you see, again, my thing with this, though, if I could comment on AI a little bit, is that it's all the same expression, where it's all grr like this, grr like this, grr like this. You know what I mean? What I want to see, what ideally want to see, is what happens when they open their mouth up wide. You know what I mean? Like, how does that work? And what if they're making, like, ooh, mouth. You know what I mean? what does that look like? You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing you still need to
Yeah.
explore. You see? So let's just say, for example, we were on another production and somebody said, okay, this is our design. I went through AI and did it. They're going to need a character design artist to do this stuff, you see, unless they want to go back to AI, if it's possible, and re-upload it and say, do this design, but with this, and keep regurgitating that over and over. I don't know what the capabilities are. See, I don't know where it's at. I don't know where the technology is at to do that. So until that comes to be capable, this is where I say an artist is going to need to be able to, contracted hire to be able to provide, this other stuff. See what I mean? So it really is like when you do take a job, there's, especially as a character designer, often at times what happens is you are approached with a drawing to go over a drawing that's already been done. Somebody did it on a napkin at a restaurant. Somebody's cousin, did it on a Post-it or whatever it is. So yeah, my friend, he works over at Pixar. He did a doodle for me. Well, they need somebody to take that doodle and flesh it out. You see what I mean? Because they don't have access to that person for much time. You see what I mean? They got a one-off from them, and they need somebody to take that design and flesh it out. So that's just like AI. It's like if they had hired somebody, like, yeah, we found this guy, and he did this, but we can't work with him anymore. You know what I mean? Because he's busy on another show. Can you take this and make it work? And like, yeah, okay, well then go. That's what you do. That's pretty typical. So, yeah, Edward, you had something to say?
I was going to add to what you said about AI. Is that while AI creates what's already being created, we people, on the other hand, create what's never been created.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think I said it way back. I said it way back.
Yeah, but not me.
It's
you're right. Yeah.
It's from an animation producer, an owner of Elephant Season Events, Jordan Curley on LinkedIn. Yeah. AI only regurgitates what's already been created. Humans create what's never been created. Yeah. So while processes may change and pipelines will look different, the art of storytelling will live on eternally. No computer can take that away from us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, in many ways, like, also too, is that I think a lot of what we do has, even as artists, has an influence of what may already been done, but there's still a customization that is applied that is unique. You know what I mean? And unique to the individual that's participating in it. You know what I mean? And our background, you know what I mean? Because, I think about my influences based upon my background being mostly through Disney. But you might have somebody else whose influences come from someplace else that might be more from, let's say, Japan or anime or something like that. And they're going to come with a different sensibility as well. And I think what is kind of good in the dynamic of the studio, what they set up is when other artists are asked to go over other artists' work to just do a pass on it. Because then what happens is now you kind of get like a cross of styles and integration, a possible integration that way, Because like when I think about what we did with like Hercules, for example, when we were designing Hercules, we were purposely trying to mimic or be influenced by a political cartoonist style that was in London. And so we had that. So we were already doing that. So we were already kind of taking that influence. And then what we did is we even switched characters with one another. So for example, I was in charge of working on Pain and Panic. I was asked to like do a drawing of Meg, the heroine, or even of the main character, and just because you never know what can come out of that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, an interesting take on how you drew the eye, or oh, that's an interesting take on how you did this. You see what I mean? And that's where you never know, and so that's what it makes it good to have other people kind of work on it and stuff like that. Just like a lot of my stuff, like I would love to, like if I had design, like, pass it to somebody else I know, and say, can you draw over this? See what they come up with, and it could be subtle, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a big change. Sometimes it could be subtle and enough. Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, so like this, for example, like here. So what I would do here, now that I'm looking at it, is like this horn. Instead of doing the horn coming out of his forehead, what I would probably do is have the horn come out like that. You see what I mean? Because they're pointed. Yeah. See stuff like that. See, if I were to do a drawing over this, that's what I would do. And let's just say the other artist who came up with this, if it was an artist, you know what I mean, would be like, oh shoot, yeah, that's great. I'm like, what did you do? They're like, oh, I see what you did there. Okay, yeah, thanks, man. Shoot. See, it could be something as subtle, as simple as that, that could do it. Yeah. Cool. All right. What else we got going? Then we should probably go.
I think that's everything.
Yeah, is that everything that anybody uploaded?
Yeah.
I like the flamingo. I mean,
Flamenco dancers.
I know. You see, so let me just so just as a where did he go? Oh. I mean, I don't know. What do you have to say about this? Because it's like it obviously learned. You know what I mean? Like it seriously obviously learned. I mean, because this is what I would be commenting on. I'd be saying great use. Oh, I would be saying, great use of shape. Like, look at these proportions. You know what I mean? I'd be like, it's like, I like great use of shape. You got that, and I mean, this looked like somebody drew it. If you didn't tell me it was AI, I would guess that somebody drew it. Although, I would still say that this hand's a little effed up. You know what I mean? I would do it where I would probably do something like this. You know what I mean? And I'd say, well, yeah, I fixed it. That'll cost you $500. I'd probably do something like this. I don't know. And you know what I mean? I'd probably rework it a little bit. Come in. I'd probably do this, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I'd be like, we're pretty darn close, yeah, I mean, this is all great. I mean, you look at this. I mean, this is great shape. It's like, they got the streamlining down. I'd probably just tweak it a little bit, but I mean, it wouldn't be much. I mean, it's like, I mean, shoot, like, shame on them. It's too bad this costs so much. Too bad it's cost this made a forest fire.
Yeah.
Damn AI, big forest fires. Changing the climate, making new forest fires. But yeah, I mean, these are really, I mean, yeah, right, like small feather, big feather, long feather, medium size. I mean, it's all there. I mean, but again, the hands are fucked up. So what I would do is I would just fix the feathers. You know what I mean? Like I would do something like that. You see?
Yeah.
But so a producer would be saying, well, I need somebody to fix this, and I'd be like, okay, I'll fix it, but I'm still going to charge you $500. All right. Yeah, cool. Okay. All right. I mean, I would probably see now what I would do here. Now, here's something. I would just say, see what I would do here. Yeah, again, it's all fucked up. It's like, what is that? What I would do is I would do my 101 Dalmatian sleeves. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And don't think that our Disney. We wouldn't do it at Disney. I would use my Roger 101 Dalmatian sleeves, and then I just stole it from 101 Dalmatians. But I would probably do that with like the hands and the fingers. Like, yeah, this is all screwy. Like, I would do something like that with the hands. And again, like Dalmatian sleeves. Like, what is that? It's like, yeah, so yeah, like what is that? Like, I do. But all of this is like,
Yeah.
shit, man. It's like, damn. It's like, stop it. But what I would still do is I would come up with, see, this is how I would draw it. See what I mean?
Yeah.
I would think of a what I would consider to be a better alternative based on the same general idea. So this is how I would use this as a jumping off point, but I would never actually use this verbatim because I would have to still go over it. You see what I mean? Like, see, I would do something more like that. See, like, I don't know what this is. You know what I mean? I don't know what that is. How I would have to go over it, and let me switch out my pen. I would have to figure out like, okay, you're gonna want a tie, and that's gonna be, is it gonna be a collar like this? You know what I mean? Like, I would have to figure that out. See,
Just one long neck.
I would have to solve that. I could probably do something like that, see, or I could do something where maybe it's this, maybe it's this kind of a thing where it's just a collar like that. One of those two. See?
Hmm.
Maybe that's what we do. But either way, it needs to be solved because as good as AI did, it didn't solve all of the problem. You see? It kind of did. It's like me doing the dishes. I always leave one mug in the sink. I don't do mugs. I don't know why. I don't. It's like what I mean. It's like
You got something against mugs?
yeah, because they don't fit in the thing right, and I it's like they're heavy and clunky and whatever. It's like
You just put the handle between.
yeah, I know.
They fit.
I know. I just don't, like
What with the other ones?
I'm working on it day by day. All right. Well, okay, cool. All right. I should probably get going, and I think it's a good session today. I think covered a lot, and just keep going with designs, and, and keep going as we're going, and and again, let's come up with fun ideas. Something will be fun to see, and then we'll, get it going.
Yeah, and shall we invite Sifa into our crew?
Yeah, you're welcome to join us whenever you'd like. So I mean, this is what we do. This is what it's like every week. So
I had a great time. I learned a lot about the style.
Yeah.
It's always great to have a fresh view from you, Sifa.
Yeah, it is. It is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Love to come back if you'll have me.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I could say welcome to the team, Sifa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did it.
All right.
Smart girl.
More girl. Yeah, girl power. All right.
All right, everybody.
Okay.
Cheerio.
Meeting you all.
See
All
you.
right. See you guys on Discord.
All right. Yeah. See you next week. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
Bye.